In 2011, Fred Walden was asked to host Morning Brew. That request came from the left.
Did I not say I was totally anti-Vietnam? And did I not say I would never have fought in Vietnam?
Several years earlier, the right had asked JBK to voice their concerns.
The press in this country, who's in the tank for Barry Obama and the rest of the left wing, failed to inform and educate viewers and listeners to. And it's very frustrating.
Can these two broadcasting legends share the airwaves, debate intelligently about sports and politics, and enjoy a cup of Joe without driving each other crazy?
Did he take a pay cut, Governor Walker?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's not the issue, Fred.
No, it is. No, it is.
It's got nothing to do with it.
He takes a pay cut.
Nice try.
Nice try.
We're about to find out because Morning Brew is now on.
Yes, we are. Welcome to the Morning Brew right here on AM 1050 KCA. I'd like to say hello to our brand new affiliates, Mile High Radio in Colorado. Thank you, Haas, and Passionate Talk Radio in Michigan, and the same for Lillian. We're here to discuss anything and everything in sports and politics. His name is JBK. I'm Fred Wallen. You can join us toll-free. It's very simple. 1-888-909-1050, 1-888-909-1050. Lovely Christina will get you on the air. You can also email us, sportsfred@aol.com, sportsfred@aol.com. Guest in a few seconds, Coach Chuck Hayes, who knows as much about football as anybody I know, is going to talk about, obviously, the Super Bowl. Later, sports guy Ronnie Wald on those nasty Republicans and his thoughts on the Super Bowl, too, because Ronnie, as Coach Chuck, has got opinions on everything. Topics today, of course, the Super Bowl at 31 and a half hours from right now. The Pats minus 2.5, the total 55. Gronkowski is playing. Bradshaw didn't practice yesterday for the Giants. Who do you like? Can the Pats slow the defense of the Giants passing? Can the Pats defense stop the Giants passing attack? And Eli Manning, of course, he had a couple passes against San Francisco that might have been intercepted. So we'll see what goes on in 31 and a half hours. Are you waiting for the commercials? I know I'm waiting for Seinfeld and the Soup Nazi, no question about that. NBA news. Well, let's say, first of all, they tried to crash too many games into too short a period of time. The All-Star game is 3 weeks. Do you care? College basketball, the Pac-10 stinks. Colorado's playing pretty well, but my UCLA Bruins at Washington State, they're a 3-point favorite. Later today, we'll discuss that. College football signing day was Wednesday, and the rich got richer. Baseball, the magazines are already out. And in the political world, of course, what does an endorsement from the Donald mean to you? Is this the worst group of Republican nominees maybe ever? And why would anybody vote Republican unless you're the 1%? All these questions and more, and it's now time to turn to JBK, who almost made it to Indianapolis, but it's expensive as a fan to go. Is it not, JBK?
Yeah, Fred, I made it to the AFC title game, so I'm not complaining at this point. But, yeah, we were going to take a run at Indy, but I don't know. There's some other things, being that I'm a Republican and I'm in the 1%, I should be in the front row of the game, but decided to take a pass today.
Hey, before we go to Chuck Hayes, I want to ask you a question, and I think I know your opinion on this, but I'm not 100% sure. From a political framework, let's say a hotel room in Indianapolis usually charges $125 a night, and now for this game, they're charging $500 a night. I would call that gouging. Is it okay in your mind?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, come on, Fred, supply, demand, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's not like it's post-hurricane in Florida and you have to pay $15 a gallon for gasoline, or you go to the hardware store to get plywood and they charge you something like $200 for a sheet of plywood. This is an event that, let's face it, it's become very corporate, and it's who you know to get there. You got to either know a player, you got to have big bucks, or you just have to be involved with one of the major sponsors to get there. I mean, listen, it's on TV. Everybody now has their high-def TVs with the 60-inch that you can get from the Best Buys and the other big box stores. I'm not worried about it.
Folks, what do you say out there? If you wanted to go to the Super Bowl any year, any time, and they 3x the price or 4x the price, in your mind, is that gouging? Love to hear from you. 1-888-909-1050. It's toll-free. Again, Christina will get you on the air. 1-888-909-1050. You can also email us. Give us your thoughts. We'll read the best on the air, sportsfred@aol.com. Without further ado, Coach Chuck Hayes, who knows more about football than anybody I know. Coach Chuck, welcome to the show.
Well, good morning, Fred. Great to be here on this Saturday morning talking about one of my favorite subjects, Super Bowl, one of the only major events that I've seen every one of, and hopefully that'll continue through the night so I get a chance to see Super Bowl 46 tomorrow.
You know, I'm listening to ESPN yesterday, and the guy on the air said he thought the Giants were going to open up as a heavy favorite. Instead, of course, the Pats opened at 3.5. It's now been bet down to 2.5 in many books, and the total's 55. Did you think the Giants should be favored as far as the odds makers were concerned? The opening line 2 weeks ago.
I guess they look at the balance of the playoffs and how they got there, and a lot of people probably discounting the Giants a little bit. Fred, I think this is the even football game. Obviously, the Giants have had the Patriots number the last 2 times. What that means, hey, they got to tee it up and play it tomorrow. But I just thought that probably because of New York and the Giants that there'd be a lot more monies in regards to that on the Giants.
Now, Coach Chuck Hayes, originally from Connecticut, and, of course, JBK doing the show from Connecticut. JBK, I know you got some questions for Coach Chuck Hayes.
No, listen, I just want to piggyback on what the coach said, and that is whoever wins tomorrow, it's not going to be regarded as an upset. It really isn't. I mean, the Giants are just playing great football going into the game, and, again, with a caveat, as much as it kills me to say this, Eli Manning is playing in just the best ball of his career. And they are defensively, you can't ask much more from the Giant defense. Brady, I think, he played okay against Baltimore. I'm not going to say he threw a clunker, but he's not playing, or his last game wasn't at the level that we've all become accustomed to. I suspect that he's going to really take it up to the, top shelf A-list next week, or tomorrow, excuse me. But there's no upset tomorrow. Whoever wins the game, you're going to sit there and say, I expected it. Obviously depending on who you ask. And I think that Vegas, as usual, gets it right with, what is it you said now? It's 2?
Down to 2.5, and 55 is the total.
Right. Yeah, that's about right.
Coach Chuck, you agree?
Maybe right down the middle. Clinton, Connecticut is the magic line between New York and New England. Whereabouts are you located today?
I'm in Fairfield County.
Okay, so you're in Giant country. That's flat out. That's where the Giants used.
No.
Oh yeah, because that's where the Giants used to train at Fairfield University.
Yeah, listen to me. I know what you're saying, but I do not concede any part of Connecticut. Got it? I got my car festooned with Patriots stuff all over the place, and I even at night randomly put Patriots bumper stickers on stop signs. You didn't hear
JD, here's one thing that I always knew. I grew up in southeastern Connecticut in the New London area.
Yep.
And the difference between Red Sox and Yankee fans, and I grew up among them, was always based upon Italian heritage. If you was an Italian family, they were Joe DiMaggio fans. That meant they were Yankee fans. And the Patriots, frankly, were nomads. They played in, I believe, 4 to 5 different stadiums before Robert Kraft saved them.
Fenway, Nickerson Field. Then they played, I can't remember the third one. And then
they played at Harvard.
What was the last one?
They played at Harvard.
That's right. Thank you. Harvard Stadium, and then eventually, moved out to the glorified high school stadium in Foxborough, which was then known as Schaefer Stadium.
Built for $6 million back in 1971.
That's right. And that team, and it's a funny story, but how I became a Patriots fan, and I'll give you the 30-second thumbnail sketch, was when the Giants were playing 2 seasons at the Yale Bowl because the Meadowlands was under construction, and I think it was also at the same time that Yankee Stadium was going through the massive renovations of the early 70s. They had to play 2 seasons at the Yale Bowl in New Haven. Yale football family, my dad got exhibition tickets for the Patriots and the Giants, taking me to the game with the thought in mind that I would be a New York football Giants. And Fred, that's old school when you call the Giants the New York football Giants.
Yep.
That I would be a Giant fan because my old man and his entire family's from New Haven, which is close to that line that the coach was just talking about. And I kept saying, but Daddy, I like the team with a Minuteman on the helmet. But Daddy, don't we live in New England? But Daddy, this team, represents our region. The Bicentennial's coming, Daddy, so I want to be a Patriot fan. Well, he's like, you don't want to be a Patriots fan. They're really not that great a team. They're not a well-run organization. Their fans are known for being a little bit lushy, to be polite. And you really don't want to do this. And I said, I do. And the rest is history. I've been a Patriots fanatic ever since then. I broke.
All right, now, JD, I have to ask you, and I'm going to cop to my age. I'm 55 years old.
46.
How old are you?
46 years old.
Okay, see, this is perfect, Fred. This is the generational difference between Patriot fans and Giant fans. Because back in the day when the AFL came in, and I was a big AFL fan, I loved everything about it. But hardcore-wise, the Giants, if you lived where JD lived, you could not get a ticket because 62,000 seats in Yankee Stadium to watch the Giants, you had to really know somebody to be able to make that inroad.
Right.
Like JD myself, I did go to the Yale Bowl and saw the St. Louis Cardinals play the Giants when the Giants had a very, very bad run. And I could see how you could be excited about the new-look Patriots, but this is the definition of the change in sports and also from a geographical situation. That line, that Patriot line has moved, and it's interesting to hear somebody from Fairfield County talk about Connecticut as being part of New England, because in my generation, a 10-year older, basically New England started when you cross the Connecticut River.
Interesting, because I have it. First of all, I was brought up in the Hartford area, so that's where the whole New England, the real Connecticut is New England, blah blah blah. But in my opinion, it's always, and fans in California listening right now are going to sit there and go, "What are these guys talking about?" But the Merritt Parkway, where it turned over from the Wilbur Cross and the Sikorsky Bridge, is where I think New York starts in Connecticut. But I hear what you're saying. You got a good point.
We're talking to Coach Chuck Hayes, talking, of course, Super Bowl. If you'd like to take part, you can email us, sportsfred@AOL.com. You can give us a toll-free call at 1-888-909-1050, and lovely Christina will get us on the air. Okay, Coach Chuck, you played sports. I played sports. JBK played sports. We played through injuries. The injury to Seta Gronkowski, once you're out there, if Belichick says you're ready, you're ready. If they're chasing you and you've got the ball, you're not thinking about the ankle, are you?
It's interesting. I think back to the Rams and Jack Youngblood, and Fred, I know you know Jack Youngblood very well, and what he played through in that Super Bowl. Again, it's how medical science has improved over the years, and how the player responds to that. And we all know that the Super Bowl is a very, very, very long football game, longer than any football game that anyone ever plays in. And it's going to be a timing situation on when Gronkowski warms up, how well he's taped up, what type of shot that he takes, and frankly, this is something that the league never likes to talk about, the painkiller situation. Players do take shots to get ready to play. Why? To numb the pain. And again, when you numb the pain, you're numbing that injury, and you can do permanent damage in regards to that. So the medical team of the Patriots, this is a young player. He's in his second year, and he's healthy right now, except for that pain, and they're going to watch him. Believe me, this ankle will be the most looked at ankle on Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have an ankle cam. Based upon the coverage of what's going to happen from the time he walks into the stadium, from the time he comes out to warm-ups, and then after halftime, which is a very, very long show with Madonna this year, you're going to have a situation where that tightens up and he may not be able to go in the third quarter.
I'm going to throw you a question. Let me throw him a question, and then we'll go back to JBK. Coach Chuck, are you one of these guys who wants to watch it at a restaurant or a bar or at a party, or would you rather watch it at home? My question, of course, because I grew up, and I used to go to people's houses all the time or watch it at a restaurant or a bar. But for the last few years, I've just enjoyed it at home because you can hear the game, the strategy that you may not be hearing if people are over talking, you're not going to get if other people are here. So my wife's going to be in another room watching her fashion shows. I'm going to be watching again. Coach Chuck, are you going to be at a party, restaurant, or are you going to be watching it by yourself, paying attention?
What will happen, and I've done it all ways. I've done it, being in Las Vegas, being in those big casino rooms with 2,000 people. I've done it with a small group of people. I personally like to watch it myself, and this year what I will be doing, I will be using the Twitter, I believe for the first Super Bowl. I don't think last year when I watched it I was as into Twitter, but I think there's more interaction with people and more strategy that goes on and more interest in what goes on. So I think one-on-one, I'll have the good sound system working so I can hear the audible calls. I want to hear Tom Brady's audible calls. I want to hear Eli Manning's audible calls. And I think, as you look at the evolution of this, it's about how you truly enjoy it. So I have some good snacks, a couple cold Heinekens, and watching play-by-play.
JBK, any thoughts?
Hey, listen, I'll be flying into New York City to watch the game tomorrow with my posse. Of course, Mr. C is going to be joining me. That's going to be an electric event. But let me just talk about the Gronkowski